Hello and welcome to the FGandRZ podcast. I'm your host, Ozzy or Aaron, and my co-host, FG or Luke. Say hello.
Yo.
Yo, this is an exclusive Game of Thrones episode. This is the final episode of Game of Thrones. So give me an overall, Luke, right? Just a quick, we're gonna jump into it, but I want a quick overall of what you thought. Just a sentence, man. Just a sentence. What did you think?
That's hard to do because some things I liked and a lot of things I didn't, so.
Okay, right. All right. Okay, we'll just play it out then, right?
Yeah.
We'll start off, right?
Wait. I would prefer to do it this way, where we go character by character, since we now know the ending of the season. So instead of running down this episode, because this episode is like largely nothing really happens in this episode, it's just more tying things up. So I would prefer to talk about specific characters and what their story has led up to, and how the ending has impacted how relevant that story was, or how garbage that story is.
You know what? I like the sound of that, right? I'll sit back, right? I'll let you take control of this one, right? You tell me what character, and we'll go from that, man.
All right, let's start with Bran, since it's the biggest character in this episode.
Bran, okay, spicy.
Wait, we have to address the fact that we were both wrong, and the people that voted for Bran we called idiots.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you said a bit worse than just idiots. Like, I'm gonna have to try and find the clip there. What you exactly said, but I'm pretty sure you had like a mini meltdown when I told you that. When I told you Bran was number one, I think you had a mini meltdown.
Now, if Bran is actually the at the end, how are you gonna feel about that shit?
Mad, because it goes completely against his character. It goes completely against his character.
Everyone did say that you will not predict the ending of Game of Thrones.
Honestly, right, whoever's like, who these people are that's voting for Bran, I hope you lose your money. Because it's just so dumb. It's so dumb. It goes against his character arc completely. It's like saying, oh, you should rule. It doesn't make sense. She doesn't want to.
It's because that is probably the dumbest ending that you could give this character, and that exact role of the show.
Yep.
So I had to believe that it couldn't have gone that bad, and it did, and it didn't even justify it in a good way. So we'll start with Bran, and the first thing I want to mention is is the three-eyed raven even important? Because this is what freaking annoys me more than anything. You take this character, right, and from the very first episode of season 1, you build him up. He has visions about like this raven and stuff, and he starts becoming the three-eyed raven from the very first season, right? And as it builds up, right, this is where we're gonna go back over some previous episodes of this season, and this is where it sucks most of all, because this character is built up for a combination of 8 seasons to be this three-eyed raven.
Yep.
And he eventually becomes a three-eyed raven, and it's supposed to be this kind of, mystical, powerful character that has the ability to essentially step out of time. Do you know what I mean? And look across time. And he also obviously has got a side little ability of warging, but pretty much his main thing is to step out of time. And that is one of the more interesting things of the show, is the mystical art, like the mystical area that it's in, like the mythical creatures and just magical areas. That's one of the more interesting parts that the show was beginning to develop into. And then obviously we had the whole thing with the Night King, and it just got butchered, right?
Yeah.
Well, that was Bran's main story. Bran's main story was revolving around the Night King and becoming the three-eyed raven.
Yeah.
You never once considered Bran to be king.
A contender for even the throne.
Exactly. Not even a contender. And it never made sense to me that he becomes it. And the reason being is either Bran is the smartest bad guy on that entire show, right? And he's literally tricked everybody into it, and he's got a ski like cooking up.
Yeah.
Because Bran can see
Either I'll
not
use
the
the
future.
snow theory and I'll just claim I never won it, and people will just give
Literally,
it me
yeah,
in the end.
exactly. Like even Tyrion comes up to him and he's like, "Ah, you're the Lord of Winterfell now." He's like, "I'm not. I can't be. I'm not even Bran Stark anymore." Rubbing his greasy hands together because he knows he's gonna be king. He's like, "I don't want to be Lord of Winterfell because I'm gonna be king." So Bran obviously can't exactly see the future, but he can predict it, right, based off of certain things, right? So you've got to know somewhere, and that was the lamest quote as well. Why do you think I'm here? He's Bran, you could be king. Why do you think I'm here? Mate, what do you mean you sound so evil right now? I'm here to become king.
Literally, when I heard that, I was just like, wait a second, what? Like, really? Really? Did he just say that?
Bran's character, out of every character in the show, has been the worst character. Like, not like the actor, and not even like the beginning of the character. Just his story and how it's ended and how it's been explained and explored has been the worst in the show.
Yeah,
easily.
literally. You know what? Like, yeah, Bran just kills me from start to finish.
He's almost a side character.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are quite negative towards Bran as a character just because he's just like, what the fuck are you even doing, dude?
Yeah, it's because we expect so much from this character. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's
just waiting for something to happen. We're just all sitting in anticipation, like you've got these great abilities, you know, and your story is one of the more impressive and entertaining and mysterious. So we're all just waiting for it to unfold, and it's unfolded. Like it's finally been unfolded. The wrap has been pulled off, and I feel like I've just gone downstairs on Christmas. The biggest present is just a big box of coal. Like that's what Bran's story is to me right now, because he becomes king. Like it makes no sense. Okay, let's talk the Night King, right? Bran has no involvement with the Night King whatsoever in that story. None. And that was supposed to be Bran was supposed to play a big role in that story. Okay, so then it's just like, okay, well now you've ruined Bran's story because the Night King's gone. So then what do the writers do? Let's just wheel him into someone else's story real quick.
Yeah, it's just like once the Night King was over, it was just like scoot. It like they should have honestly put like, so Snow and Bran was like the forefront of the Night King's story, and then they should have, after the Night King is then defeated, turn Snow into like more of a secondary character, let everything play out, and then have Bran kind of like a fourth character. Like he's really not important, but he's there in the background, so you still know he's all good. Have it kind of like that. Don't just be like, well, he's technically a main character, so we got to wheel him into the front row.
Yeah, exactly. That it was so horrible to watch. Like it was horrible to watch. And like when Tyrion as well, when he was like, I can't think of anyone with a better story than you, Bran Stark. I'm just saying, I'm like, I can name 20 characters right here, right now, with a better story than Bran. Because Bran's a fucking spectator sport. And like he's just playing us. He's just spectating. That's all he's doing.
And literally, that's the first thing, because Tyrion was like, no one can kill a good story. It's like, wait a second, I'm pretty sure, right? Bran is just a target right now. Like, anyone could just bowl up to him and murder him.
Bran would not make a good king either. Like the thing is as well, as he's been built up through the episodes, right? He's like, I don't want to be Lord of Winterfell. I don't care. He's just sitting there in the courtyard staring at people. He's taking no involvement in anything whatsoever. And Tyrion's like, that's my king.
His character is someone that doesn't give a shit about people. Like that is his character.
Honestly, like that is just. Like even the very first meeting, the king rolls up in his chair. He's like, "Yo, boys, what's going on? Where's Drogon? We don't know. I'm gonna go find him. Peace." And he gets wheeled out. Was it even matter? Why does it even matter? Oh man.
Oh my god, yeah. So what happened? Literally, what even happened?
That is what you know he would be like. I just think Bran is probably one of the worst choices to get at the end. It's almost. I think a worse one would have been Arya, just because Arya's like, well, you didn't want to be a lady, but you want to be queen. You know what I mean? And like you've got this assassin background. That would probably be a little bit worse than Bran's. But Bran's was still pretty bad. And like I say, I can't help but feel like, not particularly the ending, but even if this is the ending that George wanted with Bran being sitting on the throne, I don't like that. I don't like that ending. I don't think it's Bran's. So, or at the very least, if that is how George wanted to end it, then the writers for this, the actual writers, just for this specific season alone, or for the previous season, they have ruined. They haven't built up. They haven't built it up for it to feel natural, to like it makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For me to be like, oh yeah, I can see that. Like, because I can't. I'm sitting here and I can't.
Yeah,
see it.
it was like it's the same. It was the same. Like, right. So if you was a part of that like circle in this episode, that like when there was like, well, everyone here can vote who now is gonna rule, right?
Yeah.
Literally, if you was in that circle, you'd have been like, oh, okay. I don't reckon your eyes would have ever touched Bran.
Yeah, it wouldn't. It really
it
wouldn't.
Would have like nosed around the room.
Said,
like, okay.
That being said, right, was there really any good choice there?
No,
like,
there wasn't.
Sansa
Right.
Was the only viable choice there to me. Sansa was the only viable choice.
And that's what I kind of found funny, because it kind of did feel like Sansa did think like, I'm kind of entitled to this here sort of thing.
And then they're like, Brad, and she's like, no offense, but his dick don't work.
Literally, why did she just turn? She turned evil so quick. Everyone was like, "Yeah, Bran number one. Bran is best Bran, right?" And she was literally like, "Yeah, well, we're not standing by you. Sorry."
Literally, no, that being said, though, I really did like Sansa in that scene when her uncle stands up and he's basically reading his resume out, and she's like, "Sit down. We don't even know who you are."
Yeah. I thought that was good.
So funny. Yeah,
I did think that was good. But I did think the part between Sansa and Bran was a bit like, it was just like, well, we can't be ruled by another king, and it was just like, this is your brother here.
And you can't help but think that she wouldn't say that if she got the throne.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, she gets the throne, and Arya goes, "Well, fuck off, mate. I ain't dealing with you." She'd be like, "What? Like, you mad?" Like, same. The thing is, as well, if Snow ended up with the throne, I'm pretty sure she would have still followed. Like, it's just because Bran got it there, and then it was just like, "Oh, fuck you, Bran. We're our own kind of people." It's
because she. Yeah, she also says, like, I'm pretty sure when she's talking to Dany, the specific point she is, like, we're not bowing to someone not from the north again, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
We'll only bow to someone from the north, or something like that.
Yeah.
So, and Brad is from the north. But still, like I say, so Bran's overall story now for me is like, well, it was ruined with the Night King episode anyway, and now it just feels like they're like, quickly, let's use Bran for something else, and it just didn't feel right to me.
No, it didn't. It literally, like, they kind of just pushed him into the room, like I said, and been like, well, you're a big character, so let's just push you in here and we can make something work, I guess. Yeah, if that is, as you said, if that is the way Bran is supposed to end, it wasn't done to make you feel that. It was like, oh, okay, right, sort of like, well, actually, like, it just was
it leaves me feeling a bit hollow for the entire, like, the entire Game of Thrones story arc. Like, so they ruined the Night King one, and you can't help but think that they've ruined it to make the Game of Thrones one a bit better. And they ruined that one as well for me, just because of the whole, like, Bran's king now. So we'll move on from Bran, because, you know, I'm gonna go on to some of the more disappointing characters for me, and then the next one is Arya. So the reason Arya is a big disappointing character for me is because, so from season 1 again, Arya's been built up, right? And she's, you know, you've already seen very early signs of her character in season 1. It's like, oh yeah, I'm not a typical lady, this, that, the other, right? And then at the end of season 1, she watches her dad die, and this is where Arya's story begins. This is where Arya's story of revenge, and that is Arya's story. Everything Arya does is a revenge-based story begins, right? She, down to all the hardships she goes through and whatever. When she becomes a faceless man, or whatever you're gonna call it, she becomes a really badass assassin. She learns to fight really well. She learns how to sneak, and she learns how to hide. And you get a quick glimpse, and I do mean a quick glimpse of her, like, blossomed, where she kills God, what's that family called now? The ones who killed Rob at the Red Wedding. You know what I'm talking about, right?
I know you're on about,
Where she kills them, right? She employs all of her skills to do it, and it's freaking badass.
Yeah.
But you know her story's not over because she makes a list, and Cersei's on that list. Cersei is on that list, right? And then, okay, so now Arya's story is looking good. It's looking like it's going to come to its end, and we're all excited for it, right?
Yeah.
Remember, Arya hasn't seen her family in a while, and then she finally gets united with them, whatever. It was supposed to be a cool little moment. It wasn't supposed to ruin Arya's story, because now, all I'm left wondering now is the only reason they gave Arya the kill on the Night King is because they had no intention of doing anything else with her whatsoever.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like, yeah, that's what I thought. It was like they gave it to her because, for the simple fact that she's gonna be wheelchaired in as, because she's a main character, but we're not gonna use her.
Yeah, exactly.
Like she's gonna get camera time, but we ain't gonna use her.
This is what I mean. It feels like it's interchanged characters in between their stories, and it feels wrong.
Yeah.
Like you say, like Bran's story was the Night King, not the Game of Thrones. Bran's sitting on a throne. it's not the throne, but he's sitting on a throne. And then Arya's story was it wasn't the Game of Thrones specifically, but all of her targets resided in the Game of Thrones. And then she basically gets dismissed of that story and ends up finishing the Night King story. So it feels wrong, and it doesn't feel satisfying. Or it just feels really bad, right? Like, we never got to see Arya even employ her skills versus the Night King. We just saw her just appear out of nowhere and kill him.
Yeah.
Lame.
Yeah.
And then obviously she goes to the capital this episode, and she goes to King's Landing. Or not this episode, sorry, the previous episode. She goes to King's Landing, and she goes there with the intent of killing Cersei, and then she backs off. Right now, to me, I'm gonna say I like it and I don't like it, and the reason I like it is because it let Arya live, and we could see something else from her. But the reason I don't like it is because Arya's story is one of the Hounds, and it is a revenge story. The Hound wants to kill Sir Gregor, and Arya wants to kill Cersei, right? Yeah. She never achieves that goal in the end, and so and then it shows you all this death and destruction in the street, right? And whilst I do like that it's Jon that killed Daenerys, but I didn't like that scene anyway. I couldn't help but feel like it was more gonna be Arya's moment because of the way that the episode previous went, where we're seeing Arya amongst the death and destruction.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It was like they threw Arya into the last episode to make you think, right, this is building her to the point where she's going to take it upon herself to probably try and do the assassination. And when you seen it, you thought that was going down to the point where, like, to the point of like where we're in contact with, you know, where she appears next to Snow. You think, she's going for Daenerys. She's gonna take her on, and then
like when she's like, I know I kill her when I see one and stuff.
And it's like okay, right, I can get by this, but then it just disappears. Disappears. Literally.
I'm fully with you. I'm fully with you.
It's like after that conversation, there was just like the directors or writers or whoever was like, so who's gonna kill Daenerys? And then someone was just like, Snow's gonna do it. So they was just like, you just go. We're done with you now. We'll see you next week. And she's just like, what happens with my character? Well, she meets Snow on the pier later.
Yeah, exactly, right. And like
that was it.
You're so right, like, because and like you got like Macy Williams, who's like, Arya is very big to the next season. Fuck off his shit. Like, well, first of all, there's other characters that, like, I'm not gonna say Arya shouldn't have killed the Night King, but there's definitely other characters that should have been more involved with it. And on top of that, like, I can't help but think that the character of Arya Stark didn't need to be in the show. And it wouldn't have changed anything because, like I said, she only comes into the Night King story at the very end.
Yeah.
And then she literally comes into their group project and she's like, right, I've finished it for you, bye. And then she fails to complete her own project because of it.
So she's a fun character, right? Because she intertwines in stories, and that's what makes her fun. But a character that intertwines in stories normally makes impact when she intertwines within them stories. And when she makes the impact, it's cool. When with the final here, she intertwines and it just. She gone.
Well, you've got to think that she's never intertwined with anyone's story before this season, right? Before that, she was all her own story, right? Like, it was It wasn't a Game of Thrones. It wasn't the Night King. It was just Assassin. It was Assassin, and we never see it. We never see it. We never see it bar that one scene, and it's so quick anyway. Like it's like literally a 5-minute scene at the end of an episode.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When she actually kills that house, and it's cool. It is cool, but I can't help but think after 7 seasons of like building up to be like this badass assassin. This is just an unsatisfying way for Arya's story to be done, which is just, I'm hopping on a boat and I'm fucking sailing. Where to? West. Okay, bye.
Yeah. It was like, for this season, Arya basically was written to be like an underdog, but a protected underdog. That's how she was writ for this season. She always had the odds against her, and then in the Battle of Winterfell, she obviously overcome them by killing the Night King, which was unsatisfying. Yeah, but then same with when Daenerys attacked, forgot what it's called, but when she's burning everyone down, they used Arya again as the person to be in the midst, being the underdog, getting buildings dropped on her, everything dropped on her, protected though because she's still a character, and it's like, okay, where's this gonna go? To the pier.
Nowhere. Yeah,
to the
you're
pier.
Right. You're absolutely right. Like,
that's gonna go.
You're absolutely right. I was expecting. You haven't seen Batman v Superman, have you?
No.
Well, pretty much the whole start of the Batman v Superman thing is Bruce Wayne. Like, there's a city. Have you watched Man of Steel?
No.
Okay, well, in Man of Steel, just a quick recap. When it ends, it's ending with Superman and Zod fighting. The city's being trashed around them.
Oh yeah, Batman sees that scene in the trailer. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that is kind of where what Batman starts to begin his hatred for Superman, right? And that's kind of why it felt like they was going with Arya. Yeah, when she was going through the streets, people are dying to Daenerys and stuff, buildings are being collapsed around her. It just feels like it's prepping for Arya to be like, right, you're the next on my list now.
Yeah,
you know what
exactly.
I mean? And it just didn't go that way. So overall, the end of Arya's story was not satisfying to me personally.
Yeah, and in all honesty, it would have took away the shock value, but because I know these writers do love shock value, the only reason I would have actually accepted Arya not showing up at any point during that thing is if Snow actually told her that he was going to try and kill Daenerys.
Yeah, I agree.
And then she could have just been like, I'll leave you. Sort of thing. I will see you on the pier. She could have said that. I'd have been completely happy. But she didn't. We was not under the impression she knew Snow was going to attempt that at all. So her objective through this whole episode should have been to kill Daenerys. That was it. She should have seen that dragon with Snow at the end and seen Daenerys' body and been like, okay, they should have done that. Why didn't they do that? Why didn't they just show her for that little scene, see that, and then just fade into darkness or something? So Arya was going to assassinate her?
I swear this episode was 10 minutes shorter than the others as well. I'm pretty sure it was 10 minutes. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure the others were an hour and 30, and this was an hour and 20.
An hour and 20, yeah. So they could have added that scene. They honestly could have.
But yeah, so no, I'm with you. I didn't like the way Arya's story wrapped up. Quickly, since we're already on this scene, we'll deal with Drogon and how he handled it. Freaking dumb.
Oh wait, let's just do the scene from. Okay, let's just jump straight into the Snow Daenerys scene, right? Okay. What did you think of the Snow and Daenerys scene? I thought it was cheap. I thought it was really cheap, and I thought it was, you know what, it's a bait by Snow, whatever, I don't mind, right? What annoys me is the fact that he's denied her like 5 times now, and she still is trying. She still asks, she's still trying, and it's just like, it ain't gonna work, and it you know, I hope the writers, do they do an interview after this episode?
I don't know.
I hope they claim she's dumb. Like, I hope they claim she just forgot that. She just forgot what she's just done. She just forgot. She just forgot that what she just done. She just forgot that Snow just had a full-on go at her for slaughtering everyone. You know, and now they're gonna just smash her a piece.
I can't even understand as well. Like, her logic is so dumb. Like her justification for what she's done is so dumb.
Yeah,
It's
literally, and even her like justification to Snow, she's like, "You're a good person, I'm a good person, we can shake that." And then he's like, "What if other people want to choose who a good person is?" She's like, "They don't get a decision." Well, that don't really make you a good person.
Mate, it's not even just that, right? Like it's like when he's like, "You just killed all these people," and it's like, "I wanted peace initially, but they wouldn't have it. They surrendered." And on top of that, you wasn't. And she's like, Cersei was using the innocents as a weapon against me. Yeah, maybe the ones in the Red Keep and go kill them, and then it's a bit more justified. Don't burn every street in King's Landing.
Literally, it was.
And then go to the Red Keep after you're done. Like, Jesus Christ.
Literally, it was just, and oh no, like the whole of it was just like, what the fuck, like. It just was weird. It honestly was really weird. And then what did you think? What did you think about the kill?
So the kill would be good if I cared about it. Like for example, like if Daenerys had good build up to becoming like the Mad Queen and stuff like that, like then it would be really good, right? So one theory that I saw initially, and it could be applied to this in a similar sense, is if so this is really going off track, and I'll try and be as fast as I can. But basically, at the Battle of Winterfell in that episode, I saw a video on it, and they was basically saying like how it would have been done so much better is if we actually saw Bran trying to stop this from happening, right? And the way he was trying to stop it from happening was he was going back in time, and he was trying to stop things from like taking place. And one of the things he does is he goes back in time to. Like they need frick, I forget why it's called now. You know that fire, the bombs that they throw the bombs. Don't remember what it's called. You know what I'm talking about though.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
A wildfire. There you go.
Yeah.
And he's basically like they need wildfire for this battle, right, to deal with the White Walkers.
Oh, yeah,
and Bran basically goes back in time. He tries to stop the Night King from becoming the Night King. Bran becomes the Night King because it's a really cool theory. You should watch it. But the actual plot point that I'm focused on for this specific thing is he goes back in time to the Mad King, and he actually is the reason the Mad King becomes mad. He tries to possess the Mad King's body, and I think he tries to get some wildfire into Winterfell or something ready for it or something like that while in the Mad King's era, because that's where all the wildfire was.
Yeah.
And he ends up actually driving the Mad King insane, which is why he ends up wanting to burn everyone on the streets with the wildfire is something because Bran wanted to get the wildfire and he messes with, like similar to how he does with Hodor.
Yeah.
And it was a really cool theory, and I think this impact would have been this would have been so much more impactful to me is if well, two things. Dany had the build up to become the Mad Queen that she needed for it to be impactful for when she died. Or B is if Bran played a role in her becoming the Mad Queen when he tried to, I don't know, maybe he tries to do something, he takes over Drogon, fucks up, something like that happens, and it's actually Bran's fault, but we're watching Dany pay the price for it from Jon. So something like that, anything like that. If Dany's Mad Queen thing had been built up right instead of her just being like, I'm just gonna kill everyone and deal with it, then I would have cared about her death. But her character died freaking a full season ago when they decided they didn't care about this show anymore. So I don't. The death would have been good if it had the build up it needed to. What about you anyway on that scene with Dany's death?
I thought the conversation between her and Snow was just cheap. And I thought the whole kiss was just, honestly, you are just writing to make her just look stupid at this point. Like, how can he I just don't understand how literally, like, it is basically like, for example, it's like they're trying to do like some relationship shit. Like, they argue and then they end up smashing in the end. She just thought that was the way it was going to go down. He's denied her like 5 times. She then, he has a full-on fit at her, like children are being slaughtered in the streets because of you and all this sort of stuff. She's literally just like, oh yeah, right, let's smash then. It's just like, how are you that dumb? And then, I don't know, other the kill was pretty cheap. The dragon, I thought, okay, this is where Snow's gonna kind of die or something. And I honestly thought it would have been a bit more, I don't know, a bit more like flowy if the dragon just burnt them fucking both or something. Oh no, he's holding her. He just fucking
Snow could've
burns them
just died
both
here,
or
to be
dog
honest.
shit. Yeah, exactly. It wasn't needed. Like nothing else was needed for
So-
Snow at this point. Honestly, right? The dragon part with
Well, it
Snow.
was still.
It just, for me, it's shown how protected he was in the show. It
Oh,
literally,
oh.
the armor that
Even in
Snow
the very
has,
last episode,
literally, the
even, yeah.
armor that Snow has on this fucking destroys the throne over him. Literally, it
So-
destroys the throne over him.
So we'll talk about Drogon right now. So I did see a theory about it because I thought it was as dumb as you do, and I still think this. I don't think this theory is dumb. I just don't think it should change why Snow. I still think Snow should have died. I just also think that the theory is kind of cool. Well, it's not really a theory. Basically, someone said that the reason that he melted the throne was because he blames the Iron Throne, which is like he's smart. He's smart enough to realize that it's actually the throne that got her killed, which is cool if he burns the throne and kills Jon, because Jon also stabbed her.
Yeah.
So that being said, I think the throne burning like that's cool if that's what they intended. Maybe it is. Even if it's not, if it gets popular enough, they'll just say it was. But then on top of that, I still think Snow should have died. I agree with you. I think like the reason that Snow should have also died is the same reason that like I want to talk about some side characters that should have died as well in a sec. But it's just for a happy ending, or for that quote unquote bittersweet ending that they fucking talk about, where because in the end, right, like Snow's still alive and he's north of the wall, which is what he wanted anyway. He's with Tormund, he's with Ghost, right? Stuff like that. Since they was gonna have Bran as king anyway and not Jon and stuff like that, they could have just killed him then. It wouldn't have mattered. They could have just killed him there for more of an impact, like a Romeo and Juliet moment. You know what I mean? Like a more poetic scene.
Yeah, exactly. Honestly, or right, Snow just bowls out, right? Dragon comes along, sees Daenerys. The dragon stays with Daenerys' body till it fucking rots away, kind of thing. Why the fuck did the dragon just fuck off? I'd have just preferred the dragon to just sit on the throne, like not sit on the throne, but you know what I mean, like stay on the throne as like a statement, like no one's touching this fucking throne, sort of thing, and he just stays there, and then you could have everyone in this like universe, right? Just leaves the dragon to it because no one's gonna take it on. They just leave it there. Just let it die there, sort of thing.
Becoming the Hobbit.
Like, yeah, exactly. Just let the dragon be there. All he wants to do is be with her. So let the dragon just sit on the throne. Like that's
I don't know about that.
I honestly, I wouldn't have cared if that happened. This throne is irrelevant now anyway. Let the dragon fucking chill there. I don't care. Like he just picks her up, fucks off. You don't ever see him again. Cool. What? Why? Why did you just do that? Honestly, right, as well. CGI on the hand. Did you know that was his foot that picked her up? I was fucking mind blown. I was like, where's that fucking hand? Where did that hand come from? It looked like a human dragon hand.
Well, I thought it was his wing that initially was picking her up. Because obviously he doesn't have arms. So yeah, initially, I thought like he was like, I don't know, like he was like wrapping her in his wing or something, and I was like, well, what's he gonna do? How's he gonna fly away? And I was like, oh wait, it's in his foot. Yeah, I don't know about that. You are right.
I was just like, what is that CGI? Where did that CGI hand come from? Like it looked like a hand and it was a foot. I was just, what happened?
Maybe we're just idiots. So, but yeah, I'm right. I didn't think that was his foot. I thought that was his freaking wing. So.
I was mind blown. I was literally just like, what? What's happening? What did Snow stab her with as well? Just
a knife, man.
Just some standard blade. Okay.
But yeah, so I agree with you. I didn't think that scene could have been like I don't really like. I'm not really in agreement with the whole dragon staying there. I don't think that matters to me. I don't really care that Drogon flies off. I just more like the scene would have been better if the build up was better. Other than that, the scene wasn't too bad for me. Apart from Jon being alive, like if Drogon's gonna come, why the frick is like, why the hell is Drogon not killing Snow? On top of that, why aren't the Unsullied killing Snow? Holy, they're holding him prisoner. Yeah, I don't buy that. Their queens just died. They have no reason to stay anymore. They're not. They what? Like, and from what it looks like, they had them freaking hostage for like a month at least. They had him hostage for a good long while.
Yeah, I thought I thought that right, but Tyrion then stated it's been like a week or so. When Tyrion got up on the stage, he was like, "It's been a week," but Snow's beard looked like it'd been a month.
Nah, not Snow's. You mean that was his hair? Snow's beard didn't change. Tyrion's beard changed.
Snow's beard was like double the length.
No, it wasn't.
Mate,
no,
it
alright,
was.
listen, this doesn't matter. This doesn't matter. This is off track, but I swear it wasn't. But yeah, so yeah, I don't know. Week, month, whatever. I don't know why the Unsullied kept him alive as a prisoner. They could have just killed him and left. Either or makes no sense for Snow to still be alive in that situation. But moving away from the Daenerys scene, I want to move back onto the characters. Tyrion's character for the past 2 seasons, useless. And I stated that.
Even he stated that. Yeah, like he literally was just like, I've been useless.
Jack this season, boys. Everyone's ignoring me. No one's listening. And even then, I'm just not making everything I choose is wrong. And it's like, mate, tell us about it. You're right. You were with this first thing you write about.
Oh, bless him. I love Tyrion. He's great.
Well, Tyrion was the best character in the show until up till 2 seasons ago. Start of season 7. Yeah. Got really bad then. But yeah, so I don't think we need to touch on Tyrion's character too much. Like at the end of the day, he's just been useless. Okay, I want to talk about some of the smaller characters now as well. Now that I know how the ending goes, why the frick did Sam survive the Battle of Winterfell?
Yeah.
Holy, was it just for that scene where he stands up and says, "Let's let the people choose"? Basically, he's just suggesting communism at this point.
Yeah.
And honestly, why is he still alive? Because there was so many good opportunities for him to die in the Battle of Winterfell, and he also it doesn't make sense for him to be alive at the end of it because of his lack of experience and just overall skills. It's really dumb that he survived, especially considering that it's amounted to nothing. That's just dumb to me. Again with Brienne should have died in the Battle of Winterfell. 100%. The whole everything about this now just feels like Brienne and Jaime sleeping together was just fan service because it happened and then he left and went back to his original story.
Yeah.
And it did nothing for Brienne. Brienne didn't come to the battle or anything. She still after the Battle of Winterfell, she just chilled in Winterfell. And then, at the end of the episode, it was just for a little happy ending where she's just got, some golden armor on and she's protecting the king. She could have died in the Battle of Winterfell. She didn't. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Gendry, that's what I meant to say. Why the hell was Gendry not at this important Lord's meeting? The only, rightful heir to the throne following Robert Baratheon, and he's not, and they don't think he's important enough to be there. Okay.
Right, well, he
whatever.
Wasn't it?
No, he wasn't. Gendry wasn't there. Podrick was.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe it might have been was Gendry.
I thought I seen him.
I thought it was Podrick. Regardless, if Gendry was there, then at least it's still a +1, but he should have been the next king, given their choices. And if Gendry wasn't there, pardon?
He was there. I've just looked.
Okay, he was there. Mate, I didn't see him do anything. You sure it wasn't Podrick?
No, he didn't. He was there. Pretty
sure. Are you sure? 100?
1 second. Yeah. I'm pretty fucking certain.
I was looking for him there and I didn't see him.
Yeah, 100%.
Send me a picture.
100% it was.
Send me a picture. They look identical. I don't believe it.
He was sitting next to Davos.
Okay. Well, send me a picture.
Okay, alright. I'm sending.
Send me a picture.
Give me a second.
Where's this picture, Raz?
1 second. I'm trying to get it. Yeah. Jesus. Right, go on, carry on while I get you the picture.
Yeah. So, So I'm gonna play off of the thing that you were saying that Gendry was there. Even if Gendry's there, I don't understand why Gendry just isn't immediately king. He's next in line for it, right? So Daenerys is dead, and Jon is the rightful heir, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're right. Gendry was there. Yeah, might be. Even dumber then because he doesn't say anything when he is. Yeah, I'm just playing. Just oh yeah, I was wrong, but it doesn't matter. That's even dumber that because I was like that. He should have been there. He absolutely should have been there. It's just dumb that he didn't say anything. And it's dumb that no one suggested him to be the next king. He is Robert Baratheon's only remaining son, who was the last actual person to sit on the Iron Throne, the last actual king to sit on the Iron Throne.
Yeah.
Aside from the Lannisters, but Tyrion doesn't want it, and there's no one else there. Jon's in prison, so there's no Targaryens to take it. There's no Lannisters to take it. So the next in line should be a Baratheon. Pretty dumb that it's not, and they're just like, here you go, Bran. A Stark can have it now. And on top of that, you don't want it, and you have you're not even Bran Stark really at this point, are you? Last time you said you don't even have a working dick. Gendry really should have been. I think for just for logic dictates, I think Gendry should have at least been mentioned.
Yeah,
and he
I was
wasn't.
about to say he wasn't. He didn't even say anything. Like no one said anything. He just dead silent on the shush.
Like Tyrion doesn't even be like Tyrion's not even like at the start of it. He's not like, oh yeah, we're just gonna choose our kings from now on instead of being next in line. Like that comes way after. Like, no one says anything.
When did Tyrion suddenly take command of this room?
I mean, he was a prisoner as well. Like I'm just,
Literally, he's a prisoner and he just bowls and starts telling people what to want from this point.
And then on top of that, right, he's like, I've been wrong for the past 2 years. I'm useless, but this is what I think should happen. And like, he's not wrong. Like he's not. Well, I mean, he's wrong about the Bran thing. He's 100% wrong about the Bran thing. Another incorrect decision from your boy Tyrion. But it absolutely should have been Gendry. It absolutely should have been Gendry out of all these lords here. It's Gendry or Sansa. In my opinion, they're the only logical choices here. Sansa more so because I think Sansa actually like. It's the only thing with Sansa, man. She reminds me so much of Cersei. I wouldn't want her sitting on that throne.
Yeah.
But like I personally would have wanted Sansa to be on the throne. That's just as a cooler ending. But like if I was living in Westeros, hell no. But yeah, absolutely think Gendry would have been a better fit. Like just for it to make more sense from a logical standpoint. So I think that's dumb. But since Gendry seems to have played no role, he could have also died at the Battle of Winterfell. There's so many characters that now that like we've seen what they've brought to the table in the following episodes. Even Tormund, like they could have all just died at the Battle of Winterfell.
Like literally, Tormund was just there to smile at the end of this episode. He literally just appeared, and he appeared basically to just confirm they're at the north. That was it. The doors open, Tormund was there. It's like, oh, he's there, obviously.
Yeah, just to give Jon a happier ending as well. Like honestly, like you really could have had, you could have killed Tormund in the Battle of Winterfell. And like as well with these other characters like Podrick, Brienne, Gendry. I'd keep Jaime alive, but that's only for a different story. Like that's only so that way the episode 5 plays out a bit differently. I don't like what they did with Jaime in 5. I have my own ideas on what I think would have been better based off of other people's suggestions. But going off of that, I like Jaime surviving that. But most characters that like survived it, I think should have died in it. And like I say, like Tormund could absolutely die, especially if Snow dies to Drogon there. Then we don't even need Tormund alive just to smile at Jon because Jon will be dead.
Yeah, exactly.
I think as well, like there's so many things I've been saying, right? Like the Unsullied are like we sail thousands of miles away from here, boys. Let's go. And Jon's still exiled. Okay. Like if you really wanted to, you could just be like, Jon, they're gone now. Come back. Like, come out now. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, literally, like, they all just fuck off. They're like, Jon needs to have his life banished away, right? Literally, they're like, okay. They're like, right, boys, they agreed to it. Let's fucking go. They could have just went, Jon, come back.
Literally, there's no one left to enforce it. I think that was the stupidest thing. Like, it makes no sense. I think the only argument you can make is that Jon wants to be north of the wall.
Yeah.
That's the only argument you can make for that. Yeah, again, like Bronn, why would you even make Bronn the master of coin? That's just dumb.
Yeah.
Dude, like, I think Bronn making Bronn the master of coin is just there to make like, the ending happier as well. On top of that, you haven't even used his character all season for anything. You tease this plot that he's going to assassinate the Lannister boys, and like in the end, like he leaves straight after that.
Confrontation either. You didn't even get that confrontation.
No, we did remember. No, we did. Oh, you mean when he comes back to find Jamie's dead and like yeah. No, I know what you mean.
No confrontation there. He just walks in the room. They're best friends. What?
And on top of that, he probably hasn't got
broke his nose. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's like last time I seen you two in the same room, you basically broke his nose and almost killed his brother.
Yeah, like they literally just kept Bronn around that season. Like Bronn served nothing to that story that season, and that is obviously the end of it. Now it's just there for a happy ending. Most of the characters just live for it for the sake of a happy ending, and like God, it's so cringy as well because like when people were like getting annoyed at how last episode went, there was those people that were like posting that picture of Ramsay Bolton like, if you think this is gonna have a happy ending, you haven't been paying attention. Shut up. Now, because now you can see this is probably as a happy ending as you was gonna get based on all the mistakes they made. Like all the characters that survived the Battle of Winterfell through their ridiculous plot armor, and these people are like, if you thought this was gonna have a happy ending, you haven't been paying attention. What do you mean? You're the ones that haven't been paying attention. The amount of characters that have survived that should not have survived is 100%. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Jon should have died. Daenerys should have died. Most of the side characters at the Battle of Winterfell should have died. There's so many characters that should be dead and are just alive for the sake of just for the sake of the end and being happier at the end. What other characters haven't we talked about yet?
You skipped over Tyrion, done Bran.
No, we did Tyrion. No,
yeah,
Tyrion.
You've done Tyrion. Bran, you've done. Did you want to talk about Jaime? Did you say?
Oh no, Jaime's he's not in this episode, is he? And Jaime's ending was last episode, so now
I did kind of like the fact you actually did see the confirmed kill of Jaime and Cersei. I actually liked that because so many people are like, "What if they're not dead?" It was like, come on, don't even give me that crap. Like, if they're not dead,
Yeah, I saw people like, oh yeah, there's a chance Jaime's alive in the next episode. I'm like, that's just dumb if he is.
Yeah, that's I literally I'd have just flipped out if he was.
Yeah, like I said, the only thing differently I would have done with Jaime's story this season is not have him sleep with Brienne because it was just fan service. I would have him survive the Battle of Winterfell, but I'd have him go back to Cersei, get kidnapped, have the whole Tyrion scene play out. And then Jaime, like, obviously warns her about Jaime's like, if you've ring the bells, it's fine. And then she plans a trap around it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's all. Like, that's all. I think Jaime dying with Cersei is fine. People are like, it's ruined his character arc. I think Jaime's character has always been revolved around Cersei.
Yeah.
But he's always tried. So Jaime's character has always been, like, he's a good character. And, like, that, you know, he rode north to go help fight the dead. But like it makes complete sense for him to go back to Cersei, because he loves her. Like he's gonna do anything for her. I mean, it's a freaking incestuous relationship that they've risked everything to have. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if people found out, like I mean, people did find out. So, they pretty much risked everything, their reputation, everything for her. I think it makes sense that he goes back to her. I think the only time that like killing her would have made sense for Jaime is if he went back there, told her about the bells, and then she played a trap on it, and then like once the bells rang, Jaime was like, "Oh, it's over. Finally, we can just leave." And then the bells ring. The bells ring. Cersei does a trap. It kills, or she tries to kill Dany from it. Dany burns people. Jaime sees like what Cersei is, and then he kills her for that. You know what I mean? Yeah. Anything like that. That's the only way like I'd imagine him killing Cersei. But I'm fine with Jaime personally. Like, I'm not too mad about it. There's other characters that there's other characters that make less sense than what Jaime's character went through. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100% right. So as a whole, Game of Thrones as a whole, what would you rate it out of 10 now?
The whole thing,
start to finish.
Hard, honestly, low. I can't give an actual number, just low, because the first few seasons are really good, but all the development and the character building and the story development with like the Night King and everything, it all amounts to nothing. Like you feel it's very unsatisfying. Have you ever watched Dexter?
No.
Well, I've never watched Dexter. I've just heard it's got a really ungratifying and unsatisfying ending. Because of it, a lot of people have problems with it, even though it was like really good. I feel like we're in that situation right now.
Yeah, so. It is upsetting. It is very
Above a 3 and below a 6. That's I think above a 3 and below a 6, and I think that's just all because it's been carried by the earlier seasons for me. What about you, anyway?
Yeah, I'd probably give about a. The thing is, right? If someone was to say, "Oh, I'm gonna start watching Game of Thrones," right? Honestly, I wouldn't want to ruin. I wouldn't want to be like, "Oh, the ending's not very good, but it's pretty good." Just the ending shit, because I wouldn't want to ruin it, because the whole point of the whole show is to get to the ending. So if you're like, and as soon as someone clicks that the ending is the end game sort of thing, then they're just gonna immediately start thinking, well, if it gets shitter and shitter, like, it's not gonna be good, sort of thing. But so I don't know. If someone was to ask me if I recommend it, I'd probably still say yeah. I probably wouldn't talk about the ending very much. I think, I think I'd probably just speak. I'd probably just be like, you know what, it's really good, and then I'd probably just let them. I'd just let them take the fall on it. You know what I mean? Like, if they watch it and to the end, and they're like, the fucking ending was shit, it'd just be like, well, the rest of it was pretty good though, right?
Yeah, nah, I'm with you. Endings can leave you feeling really empty if it's a bad ending as well. Like, so the difference between a good ending and a bad ending, right? Like, a bad ending, this just makes me feel like, not that I've wasted my time, because it was still really fun while it lasted. It just feels like hollow, not like I need to replace it. Just feel like I've missed out on what could have been a good ending, and it's just not. Whereas, like, when you watch like an ending of a good TV show, you just want to keep watching more. Like, you go back and start rewatching the old seasons and catching back on repeat, and you're trying to find TV shows that are exactly like that. I don't know if you've ever experienced something like that, but typically, like, when something gets like a good ending, like for me, I do stuff like that. But with this, I'm not looking for anything like Game of Thrones, just because, like I said, the ending was just unsatisfying. It really was.
Yeah, I can understand that. So we'll finish up, but the endings of Snow going back to the north, Arya sailing west, Sansa, Queen of North. What are you thinking on all this? The Snow one, don't care. A lot of them. Where are you going? Look, that's literally what I said at the end. Like, all right, Snow's going north, but how far north is he going? Because he just, you just see him take a hike. He doesn't settle. He's just walking. Same for Arya. She's just sailing. Where to? God knows. Who cares?
It just doesn't feel like an ending. Like,
that's
what I
mean. Like, it didn't shut me down to be like, well, that was a good ending. You know, I don't know if you're the same, right? I like my ending to kind of like not end on a right. If you know, when the screen goes black of Jon Snow, you could have put a to be continued in 3 years, and it's like, okay, I can see that he's going somewhere. He's going to find something. Arya's going to find something. They could carry on, but I prefer a sit down end. You know what I mean? Like, this is the final. That's it, game over. Have them all eating a meal at the end or something together. Like, every main character eating a fucking meal at the end together.
Instead, it feels like they're all just starting and completely new adventure.
A new starting their own legacy. Yeah, they're starting a new adventure each, and it's just like, okay, well, that's the end for me. What goes on now?
I'm with you. I'm 100% with you.
I honestly would have just preferred if they just had every single main character just have a sit-down meal. And it just be like,
that's a little cliche though, isn't it?
Yeah, like, but that's what I mean. They could have done like a 10-minute segment, right? Well, not a 10-minute segment, like a 5-minute segment. Every main character's having a meal or something, right? And they could have put little quirky things in there just to make it a bit.
That's a bit too much. That's a bit too much of a happy ending, though.
Yeah, but who gives a fuck? It's the very end. Who cares? It's the very end. They could do something really quirky about it.
Nah, I think an ending should like leave a lasting impression, not just be like, I'm really like look at like Endgame, right? If everyone survived Endgame, it wouldn't have left a lasting impression on me, but because they didn't, like, it's weird for me. Like, I just think
Oh no, I liked at the end of Avengers 1, after the credits, you seen them all in that burger
But that wasn't
bar.
the ending. No, but that wasn't the ending. Do you know what I mean? Like that was just like that was the start of the end.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So like that pre-built like things up. So now that was fine, but like this is the actual end. I don't know. My main issue with the ending isn't even the way the specific characters' endings happen. It's more just the build up to those endings. Like I say, Sansa being queen in the North, fine. Jon going north of the wall, I'm fine with. Sansa going like becoming queen, yeah, I'm fine with. Bran, no, I'm not fine with Bran's ending, not at all. Some characters being alive, whatever. It's whatever. It's just more the build up to it, and like it just feels empty.
Yeah, and like that's what I mean. They left a lot of things still open with, Joe Snow just wandering, Arya wandering, the dragon, where the fuck is he? No one knows. Bran's going to find him.
You're right.
Bran's gone to find the dragon. Like that's what I mean. Nothing's set in stone. Where it like. What happens at the end? Snow fucks off in the north. Arya goes fucking west. What happened to the dragon? Fuck knows where he is. I don't know. Yeah. What happens to Bran? He's king. Okay. What happens to, you know what I mean? He's just like, what happens to Tyrion? Well, he's the hand now. Well, he wasn't the hand for Daenerys. Yeah, he's the hand for.
It just felt like it came full circle. It just felt like it came full circle, but not in a good way. Like full circle is normally like a nice way to end things, but it only works if it's done right, and this wasn't done right.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It kind of just went a bit weird with it. It was just you can't tell someone, you can't explain this ending as a satisfying ending. That's how I want to leave it. You can't be like, wow, this is how the end happened. Because it's not a satisfying ending. It's an ending that has an extension to it if they wanted to do one. Yeah. Maybe they've done that for a reason. So if they want a money hoard, like an Arya spin-off or something. Yeah, that's what I mean. If they want a money hoard, they can, and they could be like, right, here's Arya's spin-off. Snow, something happens up the north, and here's his little spin-off as well. If they're doing it for that reason, whatever, like I guess that's why you've done it. But if this was supposed to, that's what I mean, it's just a money grab. But if that's why they've done it, that's why they've done it. But if this is the end, it's kind of just like, well, you've left people with a ... at the end of their book. The end of their story is a ...
Yeah.
Bit weird.
I didn't like it. I'm with you. It wasn't very satisfying. Yeah, I think as well, like I say, like I mean, if you watch Avengers Endgame, right, and I am comparing it to Endgame for the simple fact of like Endgame has moments that make you like clap, scream, cry. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, even still, this was the hype. This was as much hype as Endgame.
But this is what I'm saying. Like it's not even the hype. It's more like the argument you can make is like, oh yeah, well like Endgame's had 10 years to build, or like however many years to build this. But this has had like 9 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's what 8 years of content, but 9 years of waiting.
Yeah.
We've been waiting 9 years, so like we've been with some of these characters long enough, especially Daenerys and Snow, for their deaths to make more of an impact. Like, well, for Daenerys' death to make more of an impact than it did.
Yeah. So... honestly, for me, the way I wanted it to more go, I wanted it to kind of. I kind of wanted the show to split the fan base in half and have more of a impact when, because Daenerys. I was pretty sure, like watching it, that Daenerys is, she's gonna get to the throne and something's gonna fucking happen. She's probably gonna die, right? That was what my brain was telling me for most of the show, right? And I kind of wanted it to path where so many people were rooting for Daenerys, and then the death was gonna kind of like divide people to be like, because you have your Snow fans, you have your Daenerys fans, and then if Snow assassinated her, it would have split it. A lot of people would have been still true to Daenerys, a lot of people would have been true to Snow. I would have probably preferred that, other than like this kind of ending. Just like what?
Define assassinating her though.
Baiting her into. I mean, what do you mean? Like how I wanted her being assassinated?
Yeah, the reasons for it.
You were there. That's why
these are as good as the reasons as you're gonna get, I think, for Snow killing her. Like, this is the only time I can see Snow killing her. I just thought the build-up could have been better to it, like to her, or like for her reasons for burning everyone could have been built up better. So that way, Snow's reasons for killing her were better.
Yeah. I just wanted like a more split to see. It kind of just so. Everyone kind of like let's go by smiley faces, right? We're gonna use the smiley face logic. A lot of people was very smiley face at Daenerys, and then as this season went on, they kind of went to a straight face. And then her death it didn't make you happy and it didn't make you sad. It still kept you in the straight face. That death should have made you either go to a sad face or go to a happy face. It shouldn't have made you just be like, That's how I look at it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's when a character like Daenerys should have had more impact than she did with her death, but she just didn't. I didn't feel anything in that scene.
Yeah, same. It was just like, I killed her.
I was more anxious that Snow was about to die to the dragon.
Same. I was more like, mate, Snow was about to get fucked up. But I wanted Snow to die there. Same. Like, I honestly thought it was a good way for him to die. He'd done what, like, he knew that dragon was gonna fucking kick his ass if he, you know what I mean? He just stood there, he heard the dragon coming, he didn't try and sneak away. He knew his fate, everyone knew his fate. Why did he live?
Yeah.
That's all I can say. Like, honestly, it's mind-blowing. Is there anything else you want to point out before we end it?
I mean, I don't think I have the time.
Yeah, okay, right. That's fine. Thank you guys for watching. We won't see you in the next chapter because this is the final chapter. Unless they do spin-offs, then we might see you. But I don't. They're doing a prequel, right? They're allegedly doing a prequel.
So I don't actually know if I would watch it. The only reason I think I stuck around for season 8 was because, I mean, I've been watching this show for like 8 years. You know what I mean? Like, of course I'm gonna finish it. But like, honestly, we just how far it would deviate from so when the source material ran out, it just seems like it got like really rushed and stuff. So, especially since like HBO specifically said they could have 10 episodes this season and they chose not to, and everyone's saying it feels rushed.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think they would be using the same writers, but still, like, the writers were good. Like, the writers were good when they were following the source material.
You know, the writers have now jumped onto Star Wars.
Yeah, I know. That's
why a lot of project.
That's why I don't care about Star Wars. They can go ruin that if I feel like. Yeah, I don't like Star Wars anyway. But these writers were good until like the source material ran out, and then they had to like come up with their own ways of getting from point A to point B. But they did a good job, bro, like portraying George's work, like when they could. Like, it was essentially copying, right, where they did a good job with it, and it felt you know, good and enjoyable to watch. But as soon as the books ran out, it just felt like they knew they had to go from point A to point B, but didn't know how to, and their way of bringing us from A to B it didn't feel like a marathon as much as it felt like a full sprint. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was just they did an awful job with this final season, and it doesn't make me excited for any spin-offs, and I don't know if I'd watch them.
Yeah, I think I would probably give the first few episodes maybe a gander and then decide whether I'm going to kind of stick to it or not.
Yeah.
In the next ones, right? Anyway.
Well, real quick as well. Like, a prequel with Game of Thrones. Normally, I'm all over prequels, right? Like, a lot of people are like, oh, but you know how it's going to end, so it's like it doesn't matter. And normally I'm like, well, it's about the journey, not the end.
Yeah.
With Game of Thrones, it's a little different because Game of Thrones does actually rely, like, one of Game of Thrones' biggest thing was like shock value, right? So let's say the prequel is following like Robb's rebellion. We know everything now. Like, we know who would live and who would die. Obviously, there'll be like other additions to other characters that would like live and die, but like, for the most part, you know, the main characters will survive, which Game of Thrones always had that edge of like, you don't know if they'll survive or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, because we already know that a prequel, I don't think a prequel would be as good. And normally spin-offs aren't very good anyway.
Yeah, you're right. You are right. Yeah. I agree. There's no actually information on the prequel at all, is there? It's just
No,
like
just
that
that there was going to be 5
happen.
prequels, and now it's 3.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Anyway.
Oh, no, not 5 prequels. Sorry, 5 spin-offs, and now it's 3. My bad. My bad. There's not 5 prequels. That's not possible. It's a prequel to a prequel to a prequel to a prequel. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. 5 spin-offs. Now it's 3, not 3 prequels. My bad.
Oh, okay. Right. Anyway, thank you guys for watching, and we will see you on our next pod, which is a weekly episodic podcast, which is based around TV shows, games, and movies. So thank you guys for watching, and we will see you in the next chapter. Well, for our gaming one anyway.
Yeah.
Peace.
Bye.